Today, we head back to Raynham, Massachusetts for Part 2, where we'll find out the conclusion in the abduction of Mary Lou Arruda. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Hey.
Oh, yay. Here we are again. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. Want to thank everyone for the iTunes reviews. My name's James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Again, thank you guys. Mostly thank you for the iTunes reviews. That means a lot to us. We've been on the charts and everything else, and it means a lot. Thank you guys so much for listening and caring.
You just stop, slow down a minute, because I've been excited for the past 7 days because every day I look, and we have been on the fucking charts for 7 days.
No, it's nice.
At this
It
point,
really is.
an entire week. So thank you all.
Thank you guys.
So much. James and I work really hard to put this thing out for you guys, and thank you for listening. Thank you for enjoying. Thank you for reviewing. Keep that shit up. Keep us on the charts.
Just thank you guys so much. Today,
It's been awesome.
it has been awesome, and I would like to make a slight disclaimer before we start. I would like to do this, and I mean this honestly.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, if you're listening right now, we are comedians.
Yes.
Okay? It says in the description, this is a comedy podcast.
Right.
We are comedians. We take it seriously. I do so much research. I take this research seriously. We're not
It's
throwing
fucking insane.
We're not throwing willy-nilly facts out there, but we're not journalists. If we do get something wrong, we apologize and we're sorry. And most of all, we make jokes. There's jokes through this. We never, ever, ever in a million years intend to insult or denigrate the victim or their families. So if you're getting that out of this, you're completely listening wrong. Because we go out of our way to make sure to not do that and not to not be offensive because it's not right to us.
Right.
We don't feel good doing that, and we wouldn't feel good doing that. The point
Because
of the
we
show,
both have families. We both have children. We both give a shit about people. And we don't want any of them to get hurt either.
No.
The fact is, these fucking things happen.
It happens.
And there are facts that go along with it that when you piece them together, sometimes they're fucking funny.
And
I'm sorry.
Yes, and it's not the victim we make fun of.
No.
Sometimes we make fun of the town a little bit, and that's just all in good fun.
Right.
Most of the time, we're making fun of incompetent people around the case.
Right.
And most of all, the perpetrator, who, guess what? We can't do anything else to the guy.
He fucking deserves it.
They deserve everything
Yeah.
we get. We have our barbs are humor, and that's all we can give. So that's what we give the person. And also, too, we want it to be a little more. These are morose crimes. A lot of them, they're depressing. They're all that. I don't want to listen to a voice drone on about it and tell me, and then he murdered. I don't want to hear that.
And it's hard to.
We try to bring a little levity to the situation.
Right. It's hard to watch 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever those fucking shows are and listen to Keith Morrison, who's a legit journalist, and he's trying to make some sort of levity in it. And it's just almost insulting. It's like, stick to the fucking facts, Keith.
Yes, but we're not journalists,
Right.
and we are comedians, like I said. So, guys, I just want to tell you, if you do like the show, if you're enjoying the show, if you're interested in it, if you have an open mind to having some humor in your true crime, thank you. Welcome aboard. We'd love to have
That's
you.
where it's at.
If you do not think that comedy belongs in true crime at all, turn it off.
I got no problem with that.
Turn it off. Take your phone, hit unsubscribe, put it back in your pocket because you're not going to enjoy it. It's not for us. You're not going to enjoy it, and we're not going to enjoy you getting offended by it. So take that and go. Take that with it, what you will. But everyone who is listening, we love you guys. Thank you.
Listen, take that and go. That's it.
Take it and go. Yeah.
Fuck it. Take it and go. If you enjoy it and you've enjoyed the past ones, stick around because we're gonna have fun and we're gonna work hard for you.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have fun though. God damn it. We're gonna make this shitty crime a lot more palatable.
We're gonna try. We're really gonna try. We're gonna try to make it funny. We're gonna try to make it entertaining, and we're also gonna try to give you the best information we possibly can.
So let's wrap this up. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Let's
what
do it.
happened to her?
Let's get into this here. Last we left off, Mary Lou Arruda was missing. She was kidnapped on gone missing on September 8th, 1978, around 4 p.m., a little after 4 p.m. Her bike was found on the street. No one can find her.
There's a green Dodge Opal with a racing stripe and a guy with curly hair and glasses flying around somewhere.
We had just found our main suspect. Mary Lou is still missing. She has not been found. Police searched for her. We just found the main suspect. If you remember, the police, when we ended up, he had just given his alibi, which was we'll get into here about his. We'll check out discrepancies there in a minute. And we just got into his car. car, where it was the car described by the witnesses that they had seen in the area. And also he had some incriminating things like Benson and Hedges cigarettes.
Those are a big key.
Same brand found on the road right by where she was abducted. They found the tire prints are very distinctive to that car because of a bearing problem in the wheel.
Oh, shit.
Which we'll get into. Very distinctive tire marks. That was also there, and not one but two newspapers, both opened to the Mary Lou Arruda abduction story.
The article in each newspaper,
things are looking
is
bad.
Open to them.
And this guy we're looking at is James Cater. Things are looking not great for James Cater at the moment here. Not at all here. I found some interesting information, by the way, this week, continuing the research here. Remember, at the end of the episode, we found out James Cater was engaged.
Right.
He said he had bought presents for his fiancée on the day of the abduction, and then once he came in 10 days later to the police station,
motherfucker was murdered.
It was
married.
calling it his wife.
Yeah.
I found out that he actually married this girl. She was an 18-year-old girl that he married now, keep in mind.
Creep.
He married an 18-year-old
girl. I mean, it's legal,
girl.
but it's weird.
Yeah, he's in his 30s.
Right.
He married an 18-year-old girl the day after Mary Lou Arruda was abducted.
Wow.
So that, I'm like I said, we're comedians. We're not experts, but I have read a lot of books. And like I said, I've read all the books I've read. It seems like this is something where, like, a lot of times serial killers, I'm not saying he's a serial killer, but serial killers are activated by stressors in their life. And a lot of times, new baby, they'll go out and kill. Things like this is what snaps him. And so if he was planning on getting married the next day, this might have been, this kind of explains it psychologically a little bit to me as trying to figure out why now, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, he had given his alibi, and we'll go through that right now because, it's not quite on the money here.
It's not the most stand-up alibi ever.
No. He says 3:45, picked up clothes from cleaners. 4:15, stopped at a Friendly's restaurant and had coffee and a sandwich. 5:45, stopped at a Bradley store, get a gift for his fiancée, and he was at his job at Dunkin Donuts, who has apparently no problem hiring people who are sexually dangerous, judging by the place he was being treated. He stopped by there about 6:15 to check on the operations, okay? That's his alibi. Police take his alibi. They don't even know where Mary Lou Arruda is, so they have to let him go.
Yeah.
They let him go that day. He's out on the street. That's on September 19th of 1978. She was abducted on the 8th. Now, September 20th, this is the day after he's interviewed by the police with his wife when they're very interested in his car and especially his tires. He gets his car fixed on September 20th, the very next day.
Really?
Gets his car fixed. Turns out inner wheel bearings were disintegrated. This apparently causes the odd tire pattern in the scalloping of the tires based on the way the wheel is. It's caused by over-torquing, according to the mechanic, in case anybody out there was ever wondering.
So you
over-torque the wheel. I don't know.
Over-torque the lug nuts and it jacks up the bearing, I'm assuming?
I don't know what over-torquing means.
Okay.
I was so knee-deep in murder and trials, I didn't get into auto mechanics on this one, but I'm assuming that's what it is. So anyway, that happens on the 20th. Now, the police then start checking his alibi. Obviously, this is the main suspect. Let's get really up that ass with the microscope on his alibi here. They find out that his 4:15 alibi of being at Friendly's, which he always goes to, his neighborhood Friendly's for a sandwich and a coffee, they had not seen him there that day. He did not come into Friendly's that day, we found out. And that's the main one because she was abducted around 4 o'clock. Right. So if he was at Friendly's at 4:15 having a sandwich, this would be a pretty good alibi, which is bad. He also had a 5:30 appointment of some kind. I could never find out what the appointment was for, but he had a set 5:30 appointment that he missed also. And he wasn't seen at the Bradley store purchasing the gift for his fiancée until 6:40 p.m., not the 5:45 that he claimed. So all this is pushed back a lot. Also, too, he did not go to his job at Dunkin Donuts to check on things until 7 o'clock. That's when people saw him there. So that, so
there's a 4-hour window that
his timeline's skewed.
Yeah.
Also, too, they found out that he washed his car twice that day. He washed his car around 1 o'clock, and then sometime after 5, he washed his car again. And
he's got to have it nice and detailed to pick up the little chickies.
And that was even, that's what he's thinking. Maybe they'll like it.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's an awful monster, man. This guy's terrible. And so, well, we don't know if he's terrible. Yeah. We'll get into how terrible he is.
You got a good point.
Let's give him the benefit of that until the end of the episode.
As of right now, he's just a misleading cheat liar. Yeah, at best.
He's a liar driving a shitty car at this point. That's the only crime we're sure. And he's also a kidnapper and attempted rapist from 10 years ago, but that's not now, I guess. He's paid his debt to society, which I don't think that's...
He's an upstanding citizen at this point. He's an upstanding citizen that manages a Dunkin Donuts at this point.
He did 7 years for kidnapping and trying to kill a 13-year-old. That seems like paying his debt, right?
Jerk.
Ridiculous. So anyway, also, too, another big problem, Cater was seen, they found witnesses that saw Cater driving his bright green, very distinctive Opel.
Yeah.
4 different witnesses saw him driving, quote, in the immediate vicinity of the Freetown State Forest at approximately 4:30 p.m.
I'd start looking there.
So that's going to be an issue now. So now that's then. Now on time goes by till November 11th.
Oh, my goodness.
2 months have gone by.
All of October.
All of October, the rest of September, and a part of November have gone by, and no one knows where Mary Lou is. They have not found this poor girl yet. I can't imagine what her family's going through at this point because it's
a nightmare every day.
That's what I mean, every single day. And oh God, I found out too, her father is a truck driver, so he's got to go out on the road for a long drive with his thoughts.
Yeah,
imagine doing that.
Right, and as he drives away from the town, he just feels like he's missing something, and he's driving away from a problem.
That's
and
terrific.
Not being the hero that he's supposed to be to her.
Exactly. That's. I can't imagine what that has to feel like as a father, and I feel bad for this guy.
Horrible.
Yeah, Adrian Arruda, his name is. I feel bad for the mother also. I was just saying that he's in the truck out there on his own, and her sitting at home with nobody too while he's out on the road.
And she can't feel safe. Her daughter her daughter just disappeared.
Nobody feels safe.
There's no closure.
None.
Her husband leaves, and she's just there by herself now. She's got to feel so alone and so afraid.
Hoping no one takes her other kids.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't let my other kids out of the house.
I would feel so unsafe.
We're doing homeschooling now. Forget it. So finally on November 11th, 1978, some dirt bike riders are riding in the Freetown National Forest, and they find a partially decomposed body tied to a tree by the hands, ankles, and neck. Does that sound familiar?
Sounds like an MO of somebody.
That sounds like exactly what happened to Jacqueline Bussieri back in 1968, but this time the job was finished. She's tied with a fabric twine. She's fully clothed. They call the police, obviously, the dirt bike riders, and they go back, and the police come, and they fingerprint and find out that it is Mary Lou Arruda.
Oh, God.
So they find Mary Lou Arruda, which is...
For 2 months, that poor little girl was tied to a tree.
2 months. They do the autopsy. They do think that Mary Lou died the same day she was taken.
I mean,
so they don't think she stayed there. She didn't die from the elements or anything like that out there, which exposure, which is thankfully. I mean, it's horrible, but at least it wasn't worse than it was.
Right.
The autopsy showed that Mary Lou was alive when she was tied to the tree. Shows signs of strangulation. They basically what they ended up figuring out was that she had the rope around her neck, just like the last one.
Yep.
Basically, she was strangled, and she passed out from the strangling and leaned forward, and then the rope choked her.
Right.
The rope ended up strangling her that way.
Okay.
So that's the cause of death that they're saying here. The town is absolutely
shocked.
This levels the town.
Yeah.
This is a close-knit, small town where things like this don't happen, and they are blown away by it. I have some quotes from some of the local residents that are just horrible here. Resident Ginny Jacques said, quote, "It's like someone ripped the canvas of a Norman Rockwell painting. Our town was never the same. We have a former selectman, political guy here in town, Don McKinnon. He said, quote, we can all recall it like it was yesterday. The town of Raynham and Mary Lou are synonymous." And another selectman, Jim DuPont, said it was the end of innocence in Raynham. Yeah. So that's what we're doing here.
That describes right there how well-to-do that town is. Yeah. Like if that shit happened here, nobody would say tore the canvas of a Rockwell. Like that lets you know how pristine that town is.
It's a nice small town where you would move your family to be safe. Yeah. I mean, that's what they did. They came here in 1969, the Arrudas, to be safe, to come to a nice town where your kid could ride a bicycle down the street in front of your house and you don't have to worry about anything. That's why people move to these places. And
that's why you pay $600,000 for a house, to live somewhere safe and where you're half as likely to be raped.
That's what it was, half as likely. Come to Raynham. That should be on the seal, really.
No
Raynham, doubt. Half the rape of normal towns. So on November 18th, 1978, this is a week later, 1 week after the body is found, about a mile from the site they found her. It's in the woods. Now, there is no path connecting this location to the Mary Lou Arruda the site of finding her body. Okay. There is no path. There's no connection. You'd have to go around the woods. It's not accessible, okay? They find in this area, about a mile away in the forest on the edge, a large wooden cross lengths of yellow twine, leather straps,
oh God,
a T-shirt, pair of shorts, a towel, and a paper bag.
And how far away was it?
A mile.
A mile away.
A mile through the woods,
I'm going with not connected, guys.
Yeah, that's the thing. There were stains that were possibly blood on some of the items. Mm-hmm. Police found this, and basically what they did, they just took photos of the items. They took 5 photos of the items. Based on the nature and location of the items, the officer concluded that they probably were not related to the Arruda case because there's no path and it's far away.
Right.
Or any other known criminal activity that was out there that was, cases that were on the books. So he leaves the items in the woods. Mm-hmm. Just photographs them and leaves them there.
Wow.
Which is I don't know why.
That's a bizarre thing to do.
Actually, we'll find out later why this police officer, this is an A+ star move right here.
Okay.
Seems dumb now.
Yeah.
But out of dumb luck, 28 years later, this will pay off.
Okay.
We'll put it that way.
All right.
We'll find out. Next day, he takes the film to the DA, to the district attorney, along with the Arruda autopsy, just to cover his bases, basically. There was no real big report made of it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the yellow twine found out there was not consistent with the twine found on Mary Lou.
Right.
Mary Lou had a fabric twine. It was a different thing. It was
like a bedspread.
This was, but it was a twine. This was like one of those nylon.
Okay.
Like
the yellow things that the yellow rope that you tie shit with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
utility,
plastic shit.
Yeah,
it's
utility
not a fabric.
stuff.
It's a plastic. And like I said, the areas of the woods were not connected, so, whatever. So on November 28th, 1978, James Cater is indicted, finally here. It's been just 2.5 months. Yeah. Indicted on charges of kidnapping and first-degree murder.
Wow.
In the case of Mary Lou Arruda. No one is upset about that at all.
No, I'm sure.
I mean,
except for him, I'm sure.
Except for him and maybe his
Dunkin
new wife.
Donuts.
Yeah, they're like, we lost a hell of a shift manager. Let me tell you something.
Even on his day off, he would come in to check on Johnny.
He'd glaze. He was the man. I'm sorry. Make sure Johnny wasn't fucking off.
Glaze everywhere.
Oh, Jesus, awful human being. So on the case, Joanne Arruda, who was Mary Lou's mother, said, quote, "She was a poor, innocent girl on the wrong street at the wrong time. That's all I can say." And that's all that can be said.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you say to that if you're the mother, or anybody really, but especially the mother? I can't even imagine her how she's feeling right now.
Blaming herself every day.
How do you
no
not?
doubt. Yeah.
Even if who wouldn't send their back then in the 70s in this nice town?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't tell your kid they can come home from their friend's house on that was just the way things were.
Very Leave It to Beaver. You just said go to your friend's house.
Yeah, that's it.
And come home.
And so this was not what they expected. Now, prior to the trial. Prior to court here, Cater's attorneys asked the judge if he can individually ask jurors during the jury picking if they feel a prior conviction of a crime means that someone should never be allowed back out on the street. Okay. He's trying to influence them on that previous case.
Yeah, trying to let them know, hey, this one may have something extra.
But yeah, he's trying a little trick also. What he's trying to do is, we'll see. He's trying to pin them in so basically no matter what happens, now let's say the judge does not allow that information into the trial because we haven't done that yet, whether the pretrial hearings, whether that information will be allowed in. Well, now the whole jury is completely they're completely contaminated because he has already told them about it. And that's what he's trying to do.
Right.
It's a tactic. It's an attorney tactic. Basically, the judge allows this, but after 5 jurors, the judge decides the question is misleading and it's going to cause further problems, and he stops the practice. And this will come up later also. Now,
so there's 5 jurors already that are tainted.
We don't know if they were chosen for the jury or not. I have no idea. The judge might have said, wipe all those clear. We're starting over. I'm not sure. Now, 1979, the trial begins. 5 witnesses testify that Cater's car, which at that point they had in the basement of the courthouse, just hanging out in the basement of the courthouse, was similar and consistent with the car they saw on September 8th. Which is a big deal. Witnesses were both the ones that saw him in the neighborhood and the ones that saw him around the forest. These were both. There's not all of them testify because I'm sure it's funny. If you get 10 witnesses, you go, 6 of them are decent witnesses. Those 4 look like jerk-offs. Get them out of here because someone's gonna have fun with them on cross. You know what I mean? One of those. She was kind of a nutcase.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, she got arrested for like having her shirt off in the middle of the street last week, screaming at a homeless man. So we're gonna keep her off the jury.
That other guy ended up being the other side of a glory hole or something.
Yeah, you never know. Right. So. At the first trial also, the mechanic who fixed Cater's car on September 20th testifies. They get him in there. He testifies that Cater probably drove on that tire in that condition for about 5,000 miles to cause that tire pattern. So he drove for 5,000 miles, which is a good amount of time. It's, 6 months probably. Yeah. He drove for 6 months on this tire.
On a couple oil changes.
Yeah, never had a thought in the world about it. But then the next day after police are photographing it, he's like, I better get this fixed. So that's a little suspicious right there. What do you think? An FBI expert, and this is interesting here, this FBI expert that testifies, this was hard to find, man. The FBI expert that testifies is the same FBI agent that testified in the O.J. Simpson trial about his footprints.
What?
Isn't that crazy? This guy now, he's testifying about tire patterns in this. So
That's wild.
He's a footprint tire pattern guy. He testifies that the tread design, dimension, and wear pattern on the tread were all consistent with photos and impressions taken from next to Mary Lou's bike. So he says, this is this asshole's tire.
Yeah.
You got that right there. So,
100%.
And then he said, this is this asshole's footprint 20 years later, and didn't get great results on the OJ one. Now, due to a policeman, this is an interesting thing. Remember I said they hypnotized in the first episode the witnesses that saw him? Basically, all the witnesses gave statements. They did sketches. They did all of that. And then a few days later, they hypnotized these people to see if they had any more information. And so a police officer did the hypnosis, which is a problem because back then hypnosis was a little more accepted as a
practice, as a scientific method,
as a practice that might be allowed into court in certain instances. But they had are you a qualified hypnotist? I don't know what the fuck that means. Have you worked on a cruise ship in the last 6 months? That would be my question. Yes, then you're a qualified hypnotist.
The only hypnotists I see now are comedy hypnotists.
That's it. They're an embarrassment to the profession. So yes, they are an embarrassment to the profession. If you like comedy hypnotists, you really need to examine your life choices and back it up and go see someone who writes material. So anyway, they challenged whether he had the proper documentation on the pre-hypnosis thing.
Okay.
Because there's certain procedures they need to go through. They need to chart exactly what they say beforehand, what they say after. There's times. You need to do a full report when you're doing a hypnosis. Apparently,
I can't imagine it's very. How thorough can you be with that? That's fucking weird.
Basically, they're saying you can't just swing a watch back and forth, ask somebody some questions, and say that's scientific now. Like you have to have some sort of at least a procedure that we can look at.
None of it fucking convinces me, though. It's so stupid. No. Did you make him quack like a duck? What the fuck?
That would do it. So the credentials of the policeman are challenged. The documentation's challenged. Also, there was other people in the room at the time of the hypnosis, which is apparently a no-no in this.
Well, yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Who the hell cares? It's hypnosis. What's the difference?
With extra people in the room, they can lead them to do something or say, I don't fucking know.
I suppose. I mean, once you're into hypnosis, it's like, whatever. You might as well just have,
Turn on a video camera, just have you and the fucking perp in the room. That's it. And show us the tape. Yeah,
you might as well have clowns and elephants running around. It doesn't matter at that point. Who cares?
It's all bullshit. Let's just be honest.
So, one good thing here, caterers, what they're calling, what they always call in
real quick, they didn't have lie detector tests back then?
They were even less reliable than they are now, which are completely unreliable.
Were they less reliable than a fucking hypnotist?
No, they didn't think they were lying, though.
Yeah.
There was never a question of whether the witnesses were making it up. They just didn't know. They were trying to see if they remembered anything that they didn't remember.
So they're trying to snag something out of their psyche that they don't realize that they know?
Main thing is license plate number. Do you have a partial, sort of one number of that license plate? Because that would help
key.
A lot. So that's a key thing right there. So anyway, they admit Cater's prior bad act, which is this. That's what they call if they allow an old crime in that they can judge you off of.
They call it a bad act.
Prior bad act.
Okay.
Now most of the time they don't allow prior bad acts because they're
that's what I call my first open mic set.
Prior bad acts. You should probably do that. Yeah, everyone should. Everyone should. But yeah, the prior bad act. You're tainting the jury if you tell them a prior bad act, unless it's something that's really relevant to what you're doing.
Like exactly how we found the girl?
Like if it's a signature, as they would call it. You know what I mean? And that's your M.O.
Right.
So they allow that case in the 68 Bussieri case. Cater testifies on his own behalf.
What an idiot.
As we've said, ballsy and stupid, this guy. 2 words that describe him as ballsy, dumb as a stump are the 2 things perfectly just summing him up.
Yeah.
He admits on the stand to pleading guilty in the 1968 case, because what the fuck else are you going to do? They have documents going, you pled guilty in this case.
Right.
So he said, yes, I did. He says that he has been in the process of rebuilding his life since he was let out of prison in January of 76.
Okay.
So that's rebuilding
3 years ago?
Not even. Yeah. Well, from the murder, it was 2.5 maybe.
Right.
So he says, that rebuilding his life, he found a fiance, got a job at Dunkin Donuts.
Right.
He's going to this, clinic for the sexually dangerous, and he's ready to go. I still think burn that place to the ground.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he denies any connection on the stand to Mary Lou at all. Says, we never saw Mary Lou. I don't know Mary Lou. I don't know what you're talking about. But like I said, prior bad acts allowed because of the similarities in the case.
Good.
Now, the prosecutor, this is in his closing argument for the case.
Okay.
The prosecutor makes a pretty good point here, I think, personally. He says, quote, does he have motivation to lie in this case? Think about it. Because you have to decide whether he's capable on September 8th of driving behind a little girl who's on a bicycle, kidnapping her, driving her to the forest, tying her hands behind her back to a tree, tying her feet to a tree, and then strangling her. Think about it. So what he's saying is, do you think he's capable of doing that, being that we just detailed that he did that once before? I mean, he's really saying, like, do you think he's capable? He did this exact thing.
Right.
Do you think maybe he strangled her an extra 10 seconds this time, possibly? Maybe.
You think he ran a girl off the road first?
Yeah.
That wasn't his way of his method that he's going to pick.
Attack a widow with a chair leg in a cemetery, which is
grieving her husband. That's not the way he wants to do it. And then he gets one, and he doesn't finish the job, and then he does one allegedly does one the exact same way, but held the thumb a little longer.
And I feel like he thought he killed the first one.
Right.
I feel like he left her for dead. He thought he killed the first one.
I think that was an accident.
Yes, I think he wanted to kill her. She passed out, and he was like, okay, I did it. And then he walked away. Yeah, he was he was patting himself on the back. He's like, I did a pretty good job back there. I really got my strangle on pretty good. And then it's going to cost him twice now, this piece of shit. That's how I feel. This guy's a piece of shit.
Got my strangle on.
I really feel like he's a piece of garbage that would be like, yeah, I'm betting better at this.
Buddy.
Like, really, I feel like that's like the sick mind we're dealing with.
You deserve a jelly one for that one. Let's go get a jelly.
Let's go to Friendly's.
Right.
That's what he's going to do.
You're getting extra Swiss on that sandwich.
I want to get a Sunday at Friendly's, this jackass. 1979 here, jury returns a verdict of guilty.
Good.
Guilty on first-degree murder and kidnapping.
That's what I would do, too.
He is sentenced to life in prison.
Good.
Thank fuck for that.
Yeah.
Cater immediately files an appeal based on the hypnosis testimony, also allowing prior bad acts. Also, he says the closing statements were inflammatory with pictures of Mary Lou, and he says they were trying to pull sympathy out of the jury.
Yeah.
Which, that's the point.
If I got a parking ticket and they were able to pull my first open mic set, they were like, this prior bad act.
Yeah.
He totally did it. I'd be guilty.
Yeah. Well, this guy,
I wouldn't want that shit shown shown to a jury either.
No, well, this guy said that the prosecutor, he was upset because the prosecutor was trying to play on jury sympathy to convict him for killing a 15-year-old girl. But it's like, yes, exactly.
Yeah,
you killed a 15-year-old girl.
Right.
We're putting it into relative terms.
Right.
Where the weight of it needs to be put in court here.
Well, that's oranges to oranges, brother.
Yeah, because he also told the jurors, the prosecutor, that Mary Lou begged for her life and all that kind of thing, because that's a reasonable inference to make. Of course. When you take a young girl and tie her to a tree in the forest and beat on her, she's probably going to beg for her fucking life.
I would assume. So
and I feel like that's, the jury thought that too. They were like, you don't even have to tell us. We get it.
We know.
So he's convicted. Now he's in prison. Appeals are going through. He's appealing with vigor at this point. Now, April 1980, there is a story in the local paper. The story is headline is, quote, "Satanic cult may be linked to murders."
Oh, no.
Okay. Article had pictures of the cross and the items taken on November 1978 that the police officer left. Somehow the press, I had Freedom of Information. I don't know what the Freedom of Information Act was back then, but they got a hold of the pictures of these items and printed them in there and, try to make it
turned it to an occult thing.
They try to turn it into a cult thing because there is cult activity in these forests and around here. There's a guy named Carl Drew who's a famous killer, and he was a Satanist killer, and he had a cult thing, and it's a big famous case around here, and we'll probably do it down the road. But I don't know. I got to check and see if other people have done it. I don't want to repeat cases a ton. But
Dick tainted this case.
But so there was also just a lot of activity there. There was a lot of, they would go have like stupid ceremonies and shit like that. It was the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah. I feel like it was like probably teenagers that like heard a Judas Priest album, literally, and we're like, let's go like burn a candle and put a pentagram on shit. Like I remember, like my Aunt Lisa is older than me, 9 years older than me, and that's kind of when she was a teenager. And I remember the people she'd bring home. That's who they were. Yeah. They were like, I like heavy metal, and we'll draw a pentagram. But they weren't fucking killing anyone in the woods.
When did Ozzy bite that bat? Because they could have gone to the woods to look for a bat to do the same shit.
Exactly.
Bring a cross and some yellow twine. We'll crucify it,
Bring
bro.
Bring the shorts in the paper bag, will you? So 1983 now, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. We're going to hear a lot from them.
Okay.
Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court hears James Cater's appeal. There was a 5-judge panel, and they rule that the judge in the original case should not have allowed testimony that may have been hypnotically aided. They rule in favor of Cater and award him a new trial. So now overturn that conviction.
Does he have to stay in jail? While
he's in jail on no bond.
Okay,
they won't let him out. He's got a no bond hold. They're not letting him out anywhere.
At least there's that.
Absolutely.
I mean, the family has to go through the shit again.
Imagine.
Unbelievable.
He's gone. He's off the street.
And
now
then they
you're
get a
thinking
phone call.
He might be coming back on the street. It's horrific. So the 1985, there's a new trial starting. So the prosecution right away refiles, and they're getting this going. Pre-trial, the Supreme Judicial Court again reverses the decision. This is confusing. Hang with me here. They reverse the decision to deny Cater's attempt to suppress the hypnosis evidence. So basically, it's so hard.
That's so many reverses.
I'm reading this out of court documents, mind you. Now, first of all, I don't know if you've ever seen a court document, but there's a lot of like annotations.
Yeah.
And it's super hard to read a court document and figure out what the hell happened. But it's even harder when
they do so many double negatives like that.
Yeah, when you're attempting to make sense of the legal language here. Basically, they say that he can try to suppress hypnosis evidence if he wants to, because they had a thing denying his request to suppress it. Now they're saying he can have a request to suppress it.
Okay.
Super confusing. Took me an hour to figure out. Hope you guys get it in a sooner amount of. Hope I could explain it to you in a less of amount of a time than that, because it was killing me. They rule that the trial judge must hold a hearing to decide what evidence was garnered pre-hypnosis and what evidence was garnered post-hypnosis and what is admissible, okay? So they task the trial judge with this, okay? Judge has a hearing in 1985, but decides that he can't possibly judge what evidence is pre or post. Who, me, judge? Who am I to judge? You're a fucking judge.
It's your fucking title, you dick.
So this is a judge who was asked by 5 other judges to judge something, and he went, I can't possibly. I don't know anything.
What about you 5?
What am I going to do? Jesus, I'm just a judge. What do I know? Holy shit. So he just allows the same lot of evidence from the first trial in, all of it. He just says, I'm basically calling a wash and saying whatever's done, whatever what came before will go forward now.
Wow.
That's what he does. He just basically just says, I don't fucking care. I'm too lazy to deal with this.
I'm retiring in 2 years. Fuck it. Let's go forward.
So the unreal, man. So the prior, one thing that's not allowed in is the prior bad act. They're not allowing the 68 Bussieri case in.
And that's ridiculous.
How?
That's ridiculous.
Exactly
he was convicted for it.
It's exactly the same thing.
And it's the exact same thing that happened.
Unreal.
How is that thrown out? How is that not admissible?
Somehow, even without that, in 1986, Cater is again convicted of first-degree murder and kidnapping, right? We're good now,
Thank
right?
God.
He's sentenced to life in prison.
Okay.
He's appealing, but now, geez, it's 2 times now. He's done, right?
No way it happens
You'd imagine
again.
it wouldn't happen again. Now, also, in the late 80s here, they move Cater out of state to a different prison for his own safety.
Where'd they move him? Illinois or some shit?
They moved him to Lompoc, California.
Wow,
Lompoc,
across
California,
the country?
For his own safety. Apparently, the prisoners there, he's a local guy.
They frown upon it?
They frown upon when you kidnap 15-year-old girls, tie them to trees, and kill them.
Shocking.
So they're like, yeah, I'm kind of from there, and I'm going to rip your fucking head off. Right. So they need
I know
to
we're
move
neighbor,
him.
you dick.
They need to move him to a place where nobody gives a shit. So they find that. They find Lompoc, California. Wow. So, March of 1991, we're going to hear again from the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court.
What the fuck?
It's the appeals process. You're in prison, life in prison, you get a full appeals process here. So, they're making a decision in March of 91 on whether or not Cater gets a retrial. The 5-judge panel rules that the trial judge erred in letting in the witness IDs because the prosecutor failed to show the IDs were made before hypnosis. It's the exact same goddamn thing. Exact same thing. You would think the prosecutor in the second case would have said, hey, let's disallow let's make this so they don't turn this over.
Right.
I don't know if this was a prosecutor who was going to be out of the job in a minute. The prosecutor, by the way, that's all I can imagine, is they were like, well, yeah, maybe I won't be here when the appeal comes down.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but unbelievable. So now he gets another retrial.
God damn it.
Another retrial.
That poor mother. Poor Adrian.
The poor Joanne. Joanna Ruda. Here's her quote about this. Poor Joanne. She
says,
I
can't even imagine.
Unbelievable, man, the pain this woman must be going through. Just the general angst and just anger.
Your stomach is just constantly in knots. I guarantee the poor woman hasn't had a solid bowel movement in years.
She's a mess, this lady. Awful. She says, quote, I was shocked they overturned it. These are 5 intelligent so-called judges sitting up there, and now they come back with an awful, stupid decision.
I love her.
She stays in St. Joseph's Cemetery. Nobody overturns that verdict.
Oh, wow.
That's a mic drop right there.
Yeah.
She just said,
that's a mother
fucks.
thing. That's what moms say.
You incompetent fucks. Thanks a lot. I just wish she would have said that. You incompetent bastards, and then went away. The father, Adrian, wouldn't even talk to the press. He was too upset, visibly, and shaken, and he just couldn't. Like I said, he's a truck driver.
He's going to knock somebody out.
He's got to go get on the road and think about this now. So
there's a town in Boise that needs their Hitachi TVs. I got to get the fuck out of here.
I gotta go. It's like I don't know why. Whenever I picture a truck driver, I picture Sylvester Stallone in the movie Over the Top with a big truck full of brute cologne, arm wrestling his son across the country. I don't know why. That's all I pictured in my head.
So great.
With Sly looking over at his son and going, hey, arm wrestle, and him going, okay. I
got to turn my hat backward.
Yeah, I gotta turn it. I gotta work out much. I got truck workouts to do. I think I made myself a solo
Sitting
flex.
there with that spring as he's going down the road, just flexing his hand.
Oh God, so I'm sure he wishes he was Sylvester Stallone. Poor Adrian Aruda. Now, in 1992, prior to the third trial, now we're up to a third trial.
Oh, Jesus.
Third trial. This is ridiculous. Before the third trial, Supreme Judicial Court again grants the motion by Cater to suppress expected testimony that may be based on hypnotically obtained evidence. So they're suppressing that evidence right from the start. So they don't have the witness testimony, but at least it won't taint anything that goes forward. If they actually convict him, it'll stick here. The trial judge orders that the 1968 conviction, the prior bad act, not be admissible. So now we have no witnesses, no prior bad act.
What do we have?
Trial. We have his car.
Right. We have
literally have
people
his car.
saw his car near the forest. We have people saw the car near the abduction. Oh, and that's not even good.
We can't have that. No, that's witness testimony, so that's out. We don't have that. We don't have his prior back. We basically have a guy with a green car and them going, the tire marks are pretty close, and he smokes Benson and Hedges. Right. That's what we have, literally.
And we can't even talk about that he raped a chick before.
No physical evidence.
Not even raped her. He just abducted a girl before.
It's as circumstantial as you get. It's that he had open newspapers to the stories, and he's going, well, it was a crazy story around then. Everybody was
There's 13,000 people in this town. Of course I got them.
It's not that, whatever. So the retrial begins in October 1992. Third trial. Unbelievable.
Good God.
It's a shorter trial, 2 months. On December 17th, 1992, the jury begins deliberations. Okay. Now, on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1992, jury comes out and says that they've remained deadlocked and they're hopeless, and it's not going to happen. So the judge, with both sides, apparently this has been going on, and they had it was not going to change, basically. Some people said yes, some people said no, and it wasn't a thing that was going to, they were fighting in there, apparently. Now, it's hopeless, so the judge declares a mistrial with support from both sides.
Oh, my God.
Prosecution and defense said, we're not getting anywhere, we're banging our head against the wall. How'd you like to have that Christmas in the Aruda household?
The worst.
The worst.
There isn't a worse one.
I can't imagine the last 13, 14 Christmases have been horrific, I would assume, just anyway. And now, on top of it, on Christmas Eve, let's get that.
She would be nearly 30 years old, and we can't even hash this out yet.
No, can't hash it out yet. It's ridiculous. So
the suspense in that.
And then they have to wait.
Are the parents still married at this point?
Yeah, they're still family together.
I don't know how that doesn't tear you apart.
I don't know. They have other children, I know, and
that may draw you closer together.
And plus, he's on the road a lot, so maybe she's like, whatever, we won't kill each other. He's out there.
Fuck out of here.
So June 1994. This is how long this all takes years.
So when there's a mistrial, does he get out now?
No, he's held on. The judge will not let him out. Because he would have, because he's still under whatever, he would have to have bail set. Basically, and they're not giving this fucking guy bail, which is understandable. So it's at least they're smart enough to not say, well, you haven't convicted him, and so I got to let him go.
He's still held on first-degree murder charges, pending investigation, pending a trial.
Now, Cater in June 1994, this is how long this took. This is a year and a half later. These people have to wait now. He motions to dismiss the indictments on grounds of double jeopardy. Now, if you're from another country and you don't realize, we have something in our, Constitution called it's a double jeopardy protection clause. Basically, if you're tried for something and found not guilty, they can't then bring you to trial for that same thing.
They have to let you go, and that's it. That's why OJ didn't.
I was going to say, OJ Simpson. They believe me, they wanted to try him again, but he was found not guilty.
Oh, you bet your ass they did.
So that's the basic deal here. He's saying it's double jeopardy, and he wants the state to be barred from seeking a fourth trial because of the hung jury mistrial.
One little problem, sir. You were not found not guilty. guilty.
You were not found. Now, yes, Cater argues that because the jury couldn't reach a verdict, that it would be double jeopardy because some of them were wanting to acquit him.
Right.
The court has to decide, this is interesting here, only whether there was enough evidence to have reasonably found Cater guilty of the crime. That's it. That's what they found to negate the double jeopardy. And in July of 1994, finally, it's ruled that because of the case of Bussieri and Arruda are so similar, it's as close to a signature as you get.
Bingo.
So your motion's denied. Take a hike, asshole.
Nice.
Back to fucking jail with you. Retrial will proceed. Finally.
I love it.
Good God. So it's November 1996. The trial starts. This has been 4 years. 4 years. So a month shy of 4 years.
Since the mistrial.
Since the mistrial.
And 20 years since the disappearance of the poor girls.
18 years.
90, did you say 98?
96.
Oh, 96. Okay, yeah.
18
years.
18 years since she disappeared. So you still don't have a closure on this yet. And it's going to take a little while longer, too.
Good God.
Well, here, let's get into this here. November 1996, this trial is a circus. He's got a new lawyer, Cater, a guy named James, what is his name? Krosky is his last, Joseph Krosky is his last name. This guy's an asshole. He's a real asshole. Like, I get that you want a vigorous defense, and everyone deserves a vigorous defense, but not everyone deserves a complete asshole who throws up bullshit to get child killers out of fucking jail.
Terrible.
Sorry, but this guy's a dick.
Yeah.
And it's, too, I looked up Krosky here, and I really got some information on him. I want to know the background of someone I'm calling a complete asshole.
And we want to hate him.
Yeah. If I'm going to put out, call someone an asshole to thousands and thousands of people that listen, I would like to at least know that I'm secure in that. And guess what? I am, because I looked this asshole up, and he was a crime reporter for some newspaper before that, and he's always been he in his bio, basically, I found his bio on his law firm site here. He touts what a great job he did in the Cater case and all this. Like, he's touting this. As
he is
like,
proud of this. This is a life achievement.
I threw a monkey in the wrench of getting a child killer convicted. Basically,
what a dick.
I get he's a lawyer and that's his job, and I understand that. And
I mean,
everyone needs representation, but he's zealous about the fact that you don't have to be zealous about it 20 years later.
Right.
In 2015, you don't have to be saying
you can have some remorse.
Man, I did that. Yeah, you could be saying, I wish I didn't have to do that shit.
Right. That's the word.
Everyone deserves it. That's the Constitution. Right. That's how our country works. But, that particular guy, I would have liked to fucking, I would have
been a part of that.
I would have liked to tie him to a tree myself, personally. I would have loved to hear that from the guy. But you never get that from him. Just bragging. He's a dick. So he goes back on trial for murder. November 1996 it starts. During the opening statements, the Bristol District Attorney, Walter Shea, said he's confident before the trial. Now, to the opening statements, he said, quote, "When police found Mary Lou's body in that forest, they knew they had a murder case. When they found her body in that forest, they knew they had a killer, James Cater." That's just pretty right to the message. I like that. Also told the jury about the Benson and Hedges, the tire tracks, how his alibi is a complete fucking disaster. All of this in the opening statements. Set it up really nicely. Also here, now Joseph Krosky, his opening statement here includes, quote, "There is no evidence, there was never any evidence, and Mr. Cater is not responsible in this case in any way, shape, or form." Krosky also said that it's not his client's responsibility to provide closure to the Arruda family.
Wow,
this is not my responsibility.
Sincerely callous.
Yes.
What a cunt.
Now, if you are a not guilty person sitting there, it isn't your job to do that.
No.
But that is not the way to endear yourself to a fucking jury of 12 people who might have children. Sorry.
Also, here's the thing, too. It's not my job, but I apologize. I feel terrible for them. I offer some sort of closure.
Jimmy, if your grandfather died, I'd say, "I'm sorry, Jimmy. I didn't kill your fucking grandfather, but I'm going to try to help a little."
I'd probably tell you, it's okay, man. It's not your fault. Some shit like that. Yeah. But fucking offer the words, for Christ's sake.
Next time something happens, come up to me and I'm going, "It's not my fucking job to make you feel better about that. It's not my job to provide closure to you on that, Jimmy.
What the fuck?
Eat shit and die." Sorry.
I'm going to start commenting that on any person's post on Facebook or social media that posts that their grandparents died. I am going to write, "It is not my job
It's not my responsibility to provide closure to the fill-in-the-blank family." Just very formal. You got to be very formal about it.
Holy shit, that is so callous.
Yeah, he's a dick, this guy. So Krosky also said that Arruda was most likely the victim of cult activity. That's his whole case.
That's all he's going to say.
His whole case is that bullshit from earlier.
God, he sucks.
And I got to say this, too. I'm going to say something here. There was a real scare in the early 80s and the late 70s, all through the mid 80s, and even into the 90s. It's a famous thing. This satanic shit was such an overblown scare. There was 8 kids in a forest with a candle burning, drawing a fucking pentagram on a tree, and people freaked the fuck out. And yes, there was people who were murdered like that. Yeah. Very few of them.
The Manson family did shit like that.
Very few, but it wasn't for Satan.
Right.
That was for politics almost. I mean, that was for a lot of reasons. That was for his power.
A midget that's crazy as fuck is what it was.
They weren't like, hey, we need to go kill for the devil. Right. That's not what it was. That's what I mean. This shit was so overblown. And if there was 1 or 2 cases like that Carl Drew case, people just extrapolated, that must be everything. That must be everything.
Just blanket every killing with that shit now.
I'm scared of the devil. I saw The Exorcist. This must be real.
That doesn't account for fucking just crazy people.
No.
And so, there was one out there. Absolutely.
I blame William Friedkin for all of it. Sorry.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks, dickhead, for The Exorcist. Appreciate it. You fucking... the poor Aruda family, 22 years later, has to deal with this shit because of you. Because you had to make a fucking devil movie.
You provided fucking Kosky with a great argument. Not even a great argument, just an argument.
Absolutely. So he's saying, most likely victim of cult activity, and that Cater was the victim of, quote, overzealous prosecutors who piled trifle upon trifle of evidence to create a case.
I hate that word.
Yeah, and it's especially coming from this dickhead. His hair is silver. I just know
I guarantee it.
That's a little inside.
He's overweight.
So he also told jurors that they would bring a witness to the stand that says that they saw more than 20 people carrying torches into the woods around the time Mary Lou was killed.
Oh God.
No, I'm sorry. First of all, 20 people's a hell of a little cult you got going on in a small town. That's a shitload.
You've only got 13,000 people in the town.
Bullshit. Yeah,
and you found 20 that are going to carry torches into the woods.
In the woods at 4:30 in the afternoon, mind you, in September when it when it would have been light outside.
You need torches at 4:30 in the afternoon.
That's the other thing I thought that was bullshit.
Yourself.
I mean, if you were planning on being there later, but that's plus if you're going to be a satanic cult and try to kind of keep it under wraps, you're not going to get 20 people together with torches to all walk in together like you're some kind of posse from the Old West that's hunting for.
That sends up a literal flag. That's a little red flag. I don't. It's pretty obvious. That grabs attention.
20 flames with people chanting shit. That's not what you're going to do. You go, hey, well, we'll all meet in the forest, then light the torches once we're in the woods. You know what I mean? Come on, guys, get your fucking satanic shit together.
Everybody on opposite sides too. You go in alone.
I'm not a cult member, but I think I can do this better. You know what I mean? So. Gross, maybe they can bring me in as a consultant. They'd be like, look, guys, number one, the torches, wait till you get in the woods to light them.
Give it a minute.
So Krosky also said that, quote, there will be evidence that other parties were in those woods doing, quote, weird things, which I love. I had to quote twice there, but I don't care because it's weird. He actually said they were doing weird things. Killing a 15-year-old girl isn't a weird thing. There's a big difference. I know lots of people that do weird things. I really do. They do tons of weird shit. They're not killing 15-year-old girls in the woods and tying them to trees.
I take my shirt off to shit. I do that.
There you go.
That's something that's weird as hell. How
many bodies are tied to trees based on that? Thank you. Then you're fine. This trial will include the evidence excluded from the previous 2 trials, including the 1969 conviction of the Bussieri case, the one for the almost killing, as we remember, just like Mary Lou there. Now, they will also allow, this is what they should have done before, partial witness testimony. They do have these people's initial statements when they got there before they were hypnotized. They're going to allow those in. So you just can't have what you had after the hypnosis, which is all that 1985 judge had to do. Just don't be lazy and parse it. Say, okay, these are the statements made on this date. They hypnotized them on this date. Anything past that date's no good. Anything back, that's fine.
That's good.
Which is all of the descriptions and everything else.
Everything that mattered.
Everything that fucking mattered. Right. Just the car, the thing, because it's just pieces. You put those things together with the fact that his tire print matches, together with the fact that he did this before.
And
exactly
there's Benson and hedges on the side of the road.
This is pretty coincidental at this point now, and I'm not for convicting people on bullshit evidence, but there's a dead 15-year-old girl. We're pretty fucking sure this guy did it. I want him going down.
There's a dead 15-year-old girl, and there's an almost dead 13-year-old girl. It's fucking identical. So that's him.
They have the witness testimony. They have tire tracks, prior bad act. They have his shitty alibi. They have all of that. They also have, this is new, they didn't have this since the first trial, and it was kind of, the scientific evidence wasn't great back then. They have, on his front fender, there's a smudge of rubber that they believe is from her handlebar of her bicycle, like the handlebar grips.
Beautiful.
That they say they did a bunch of tests on it and it came back inconclusive, and then basically the tests destroyed the samples. So later on they couldn't retest it in '96 when the science was better. But that's a piece of evidence that they're going to put in there.
That's
just
clever.
in case. It's interesting because they lined it up and it's the same height. It's the same. It worked out perfectly.
He
basically
pulled up pretty close to her and grazed her bike.
Or we're thinking pulling away.
Oh,
he pulled away and did it. Was the thought?
Right.
That's the other thought. Or he pulled up and hit her bike and then was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then put her in the car. That's another thing that could have happened. Who
knocked
knows?
her over, whatever.
Yep, could have said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," but that would have also drawn a shitload of attention.
Oh my God, yeah.
You can't hit a little girl on a bicycle.
No.
15, not little, but you can't hit a girl on a bicycle. Now, the defense brings in photos of that cross, of the twine, of all that bullshit taken back in 1978, tries to say that they've been deprived of this evidence on purpose by the prosecution because they didn't get it till 1994, this evidence, because they didn't think it mattered.
It's not evidence.
Says the cult members must have killed Mary Lou. This Krosky guy sucks. So what they're thinking, though, here, so they're saying the cult guys must have killed Mary Lou. Can't be anything else, okay? So we have a verdict, finally. 1996 here. The verdict comes back. Cater is convicted for a third time.
Take that shit, Krosky.
First-degree murder and kidnapping. Life sentence. Appeals going through, of course. Again, obviously. Now, the appeals. Appeals are based on, among other things, the fact that that the state didn't preserve the cross because they left it in the woods and other possible satanic ritual items back then, and they could have been used as exculpatory evidence for him, is what they're saying for Cater. The judge rules, and this is where this cop did perfectly well by leaving it there. Judge rules that it's not the state's responsibility to preserve it, since they never had it in their possession.
I feel like the judge.
Why should they preserve it?
Whoever did that, whoever threw that argument out, heard Krosky's example of it's not his responsibility to offer closure to that family. That judge was like, I can't wait to use those words against him.
I really feel like he said that. It's not their responsibility, fuckface. I really feel like fuckface was left after that. I promise it was. I don't know. It's not in the documents, but I'm just assuming. Now,
whoever wrote it down went, it's not their responsibility. And then they lifted the pen and just said, fuckface.
Fuckface. Son of a bitch. So now August 30th, 2000. 2000, 4 years later.
God.
Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, again, these idiots, makes a decision on the Cater appeal. He appealed based on the prior bad acts being let in, saying that was, discriminatory toward him. Court denies appeal at this point, saying that, oh no, because they were so similar, that's what you call a signature. Yeah. And that's you can't get any more relevant than that is basically what they said in appeal. I read the whole decision. I was like, yeah, exactly.
Good.
Like, Jesus Christ, they listed in the decision all of the similarities. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, there's 10 points of similarity. You were an asshole. You did this. So Cater now has to begin the federal appeals process. Maintains his innocence still. It's 22 years later, still maintaining. Now, finally, April 16th, 2007, he's trying to go to the United States Supreme Court with this.
The largest court in the land.
It's called a certiorari appeal. Okay? I don't know if that's right. It might be a certiorari. It's a Latin fucking word, and I don't speak Latin. Whatever. It's an appeal, basically, process to the Supreme Court to see whether they'll hear the case or not. That's how they do it, and they either say granted or denied. And the decision comes in, and they say, certiorari denied.
Wow.
No more appeals. U.S. Supreme Court denies James Cater's final appeal. He's fucked. That's it.
Nice.
Done. Nobody else to bitch to. Nobody to go to. No more bullshit.
Do your time.
Do your fucking time, asshole. So during the time now, he's in prison rotting, thankfully. Mary Lou's family and the town, they all had a soccer field built in her name.
They
try to preserve her memory in this town because it's a big deal. Like, still, we actually, from part one, had someone message us saying that they are from Raynham. They were 10 years old when this happened. They remember it. And one of their friends said, hey, there's a podcast with a Raynham murder. And she said, Mary Lou Arruda? Like, she remembered it.
Wow.
She remembered it 30 years later. Because
that's amazing.
It affected her that much. And that's how much this is. It's the Mary Lou Arruda Borden Colony Complex. It's a big soccer complex there. Fantastic. It's at 225 King Philip Street in Raynham. Go check that out and say hello.
If there's 13,000 people that'll show up, we'll do a live podcast from that field.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. So September 8th, September 8th, 2011, and then on September 6th, 2011, the police chief Donovan of Raynham introduces a request to the town council to approve a motion to make September 8th Child Safety Awareness Day in memory of Mary Lou Arruda.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really cool. The motion passes. September 8th is now Child Safety Awareness Day in every single year. They have a big thing.
That is great.
It's terrific. It keeps her name going. It keeps people aware of that, too. They do, fingerprinting and safety shit for the kids and try to teach them how to not get abducted, I guess, basically. I don't know if you can teach someone that, but they try to make it
survival
safer.
Skills.
And, things like that, like the fingerprinting and all that. All that just makes
Knock
it
their
safer.
glasses off.
Absolutely. So that they're trying basically to move on with the town and trying to do all of this, and I feel for these people. And it's awesome that the town rallied around the family so much, and
so cool.
Not only that, but they rally around the idea of they didn't just go, fuck that. They were like, let's remember this. Let's not forget this happened, which is awesome. Now, January 23rd, 2016, after a short illness, James Cater dies in a Massachusetts prison.
Oh no!
Fuck off. Salute, asshole. Go fuck yourself.
Goodbye.
See you, dickhead. I didn't feel bad about that
Did they say what illness
it
was?
They would not release the illness.
I hope it was something so terrible.
I scoured for that.
I hope it was fucking scabies or something, just some prehistoric illness.
It's pretty much almost exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's
maybe
later on.
I hope it was fucking rickets, something from the 1700s.
It was something painful, man. So on this, let's give old Joanna Ruda her say on this, okay, on Cater's death. This must have felt good for her. She said, quote, "I think I'll be happier next week. Right now, I know it's true, but it's hard to believe that he's finally gone. I always thought he'd slip through the system, and I was always frightened. Now I know for sure he will rot in hell." Boom. Mic drop again for Joanne.
She is good with the statements.
I like her. She's pissed. She's an angry mother. Good. She should be. Now, out of this here, I found that this is terrible. There's also, too, in the town, don't confuse these two, by the way, there's a Cater Square in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and it's named for a man named James Cater that is not the same guy.
Oh, thank God.
It is named after three brothers, William, Michael, and James Cater, who all served in World War II, and James Cater was killed in action on September 27, 1944 in France.
He did great things for the world, not just the country.
And there's one guy I got to say, guys, give him a break here. I feel so bad for this guy here. I found a guy named James Cater online. God. He's a contractor in Methuen, Massachusetts. So he's from around there. His name is James Cater. On BuildZoom.com, his score ranks him in the top 20% out of 139,000 licensed contractors in the state. So please, he's probably never even thought of killing a teenage girl.
Have him put your bathtub in.
Seriously, he's probably never thought of killing a teenage girl, but I guarantee you he's lost work because his name is James Cater. So please hire him. His number is 617-936-7261, extension 11684. Hire him. Say, I'm sorry your name is James Cater.
Do him a favor.
That is, we can put to rest the case of Mary Lou Aruda and poor Raynham, Massachusetts, as they're still recovering from that, and James Cater is dead. So
thank God. Yay!
Wow. So
rotten hell, you son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. I hate that guy.
Yeah,
I really do.
And he almost got through.
It's so bad that he not only did this, but then he drugged the family through it for another 18 years. It's
at some point you want to just heal from all the terrible stuff that happened, and losing your child is possible. It's absolutely the worst thing you can do.
And then you have to keep going back to court every couple of years.
And she has to relive it.
Not only that,
3 goddamn times.
All of these appeals, all of these motions. I just did the trials.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many court proceedings there are in between these trials, pre-trial motions. This
and God love her.
She's at every one of these.
Absolutely.
So I mean, she probably spent. I can't imagine how many days she spent in court wanting to rip this guy's fucking eyeballs out of his head.
Exhausting all of her time off from work.
And she has to just go home
to go
and
stare
try
at
to
this
relax.
fucking guy's face.
She has to go home and try to be a good mother to her other kids, and so does Adrian too. So go home and try to be a good father.
And she has to try to be a good wife too, and he's got to try to be a good husband. How can you do that when you have zero closure on where your little girl is?
It's insane. Well, that's Small Town Murder, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. Honestly, thank you guys. Please rate, review on iTunes. Please give us 5 stars because it means the world to us. It helps us out.
Keep us on the charts, goddammit.
Keep us on the charts. Also, that'll help us get sponsors. It'll help us do better work and better research. There was a couple things that I needed to pay for on this. I'm like, oh God, I got to pay for these sites. So please help us out there. Do that so we can get some sponsors and all that. Also, too, please shout us out on social media.
Yeah.
What is it? At Murder Small on Twitter, and it is
at Small Town Pod.
Small Town Pod on Facebook. I always forget that. I want to say Murder Town Small or something, and I know they won't allow murder on Facebook.
Zuckerberg tried to fuck us, that jerk.
Please do that. Please do that. Thank you once again, everyone, for leaving the iTunes reviews, everything like that. We're going to do a bunch of shout-outs next week, and thank you guys personally for everything like that. But this one was pushing the length, so we wanted to
get it done and finish it up and get you guys some closure, too.
Get you guys some
2 weeks invested in this, so thank you.
Thank you guys so much for listening. And Jimmy, you want to give them your personal information?
I am at Whisman Sucks on Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat, WHISMAN Sucks, and I'll be at Stand Up Live in downtown Phoenix this weekend, February 2nd through the 4th, with Steve Renazizi from The League. Come out.
And I am at Jimmy P is Funny, and you can find me, James Pietragallo. Look me up and find me and do all that good stuff. And come back and join us next week. What do you say, guys?
I can't wait.
All right, well, that's Small Town Murder for this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been our pleasure. We'll see you next week.
Bye.